Good day, friends and countrymen. I am Nova and I am your host for today. I have here with me a good friend of mine and a colleague in the past, Mr. Laurence D. Pradia.
Good day. I'm Laurence D. Pradia. I am currently employed at the Department of Trade and Industry, Bukidnon Provincial Office. And with regard to my education, I graduated with the degree of Development Communication at Central Mindanao University back in 2010. And I have been in the department or in the agency for 4 years now. I'm one of the business counselors in the agency. We are implementing different programs and projects as to the development of the micro, small, and medium enterprises in the country, and other tasks related to development of the economy in the Philippines as well.
Thank you so much. No, first of all, I would like to thank you, Sir Lau, for guesting my invitation. It means a lot. I know that you are a very busy person, but you still came. I believe, Sir Lau, that in your line of work, you are very exposed with the usual issues that our MSMEs are facing. So, can you please share us what those issues are, the usual demands or requests of our MSMEs?
Yes, pretty much. In the 4 years of work and constant communication and engagements with different micro entrepreneurs, including the small and medium entrepreneurs in the province and even in the region, we have even communicated with a number of MSMEs in other regions as well. There has been so many issues and so many clamors that they are raising up to the government that they would want to get assistance with. We can categorize those issues into two. First is on the competitiveness and productivity, and the second one is on the business management aspect. Now, if we talked of competitiveness and productivity, we knew that the world now is really getting smaller in terms of business. We can see that in the recent development, we have seen ASEAN integration that enabled our different countries, including the Philippines, to have smooth flow of goods and services
Yes.
between and by and among these countries. Now, in terms of MSMEs in the locals, they have always been wanting and they are needing assistance in terms of production capacity. That is the number one challenge that they have. They are so apprehensive about the efficiency and how they do their business, how they produce their products, and of course, much of it is more on the productivity aspect. Also, when they have their products, they also are challenged in marketing their products, which relies on the access to market. They're challenged on strategizing as to what kind of marketing strategy are they going to use. And in the first place, some or most of the micro entrepreneurs that we are assisting do not even know how to market their products accordingly. The third one is on the aspect of finances in business. So if we talk of financial aspects, we're referring to the working capital of these micro entrepreneurs, including the small and medium. The third one is on the product development, in which we can relate this to the poor quality of their products, which really needs enhancement for them to become competitive. Of course, the design as well, great or makes a great impact, and also the packaging and labeling. Some of the products do not even conform to the mandatory labeling aspects. The next one is on the certification aspect. Now, if you'd want to expand your market, you need to do certification, and the number one certification that a food processor can have or should have is the certification or the license to operate from the Food and Drug Administration. Now, this is a challenge for them, mainly because it is being one of the hindering factor of this challenge is another challenge that they have, which is the equipment and the facilities that they have, or that they don't have rather. So if you want to be FDA certified, you need to have, if you are into the food business industry, you need to have food grade materials or equipment. You need to have the right equipment or the right facilities, just like the processing facility or the building that you have, which should conform to the standards of the Food and Drug Administration.
So you mentioned so many issues. Of course, some of those are access to market, production expansion, and product enhancement, financial management, and certifications. No, of course, we already know that there are existing programs and existing countermeasures to this. But can you please expound this for the benefit of our listeners, especially those who are in the micro startups? So these people are already very interested in business, but they don't know where to start and where to go to. So could you please expand this for us?
Music Studio.
Well, the very first thing that they need to do is really to ask assistance. They have to be proactive in their business.
True.
If they would want assistance from the government, they should be able to know the first step, which is to make them seen by the government agency. For instance, DTI, even the OST, and other government entities that are so concerned in developing the micro, small, and medium enterprises.
I forgot to mention a while ago that you did not mention in the issues the need for innovation or things like that. So does that mean that Filipinos are really innovative enough to know what business they'd like to go into, but they just don't know how to expand it or to grow it?
Well, in the aspect of innovation, that is one of the big need of our micro entrepreneurs. But before they can innovate, actually, they should have to become a master of what they are currently doing.
Of a specific
yes, so they need to be more
product
focused. Yeah, so they need to be more focused, because the thing is, if they're going to innovate directly or immediately without even just mastering what they're currently doing, then the purpose of innovation will be defeated.
Yeah.
Unless otherwise, if we would say that those entrepreneurs who have taken off in their business, then that's the time that they are going to innovate.
Because I heard so many people asking about unsa may maayo inegosyo karon.
That is on the
question.
that is on the part of idea generation for business. We are actually in our negotiation centers, seminars. We have a module on how to encourage and how to make them think of good business ideas. We help them. We stir their interest as to how they're going to find a good business idea.
Okay, you mentioned about Negosyo Center. I will ask that later. I'm very interested to that.
Sure.
But with the countermeasures of DTI per se, and for other agencies that you know, can you please share it for us?
Yeah. For DTI, we are implementing actually different programs, and we are using different approaches to countermeasure these challenges that our MSMEs are facing. First of which is the Negosyo Center that we have. Negosyo centers are being run or being managed by the Department of Trade and Industry as one of its programs to bring the services of the government closer to those MSMEs or entrepreneurs.
So are they in the municipalities, sir?
Yes,
or...
even in the barangays.
Oh, in barangay levels?
Yes, the barangay level. We now, just recently we have implemented the Serbisyo sa Barangay. It's a program. It's a national program of DTI that aims to reach those entrepreneurs located in the most remote areas. In fact, the Serbisyo sa Barangay is being targeted to be implemented in the third class and fourth class municipalities in the Philippines.
Of course, because those municipalities are usually the hardest to reach municipalities,
Yes.
and poverty is also very high on those places. So it's really very important to bring our services closer to them.
That is right. Another program that we are implementing is the industry clustering program. This is where our services are focused on the different industry cluster or sectors. Just like, for example, coffee, cacao, bamboo. We have the wearables and home styles, and a lot more. The third program that we have is the shared service facility program. This is to at least assist our MSMEs in terms of the needs of facilities that they need and equipment. The third one is we are also implementing the Repos Plus program. This is for those who are ready to export their products. We also have the OTOP Next Gen. OTOP stands for One Town, One Product. We also have the Go Local initiative. This is a marketing strategy being done by the Department of Trade and Industry to assist our micro entrepreneurs in terms of marketing their product and promoting it to the local. Some more are the Kapatid Mentor Me program. We also have the Green Economic Development. We have the Small and Medium Enterprise Roving Academy. And in terms of gender and development, we have the Great Women Project.
You mentioned industry clustering. So, for example, I am a coffee grower from Damulog. That is a fourth-class municipality in
Yes.
our province, right? And I'm gonna be harvesting my coffee around next month, assuming. So, what do I need to do to avail on the services in the clustering of DTI?
Well, first, you have to go to the nearest Negosyo Center.
So
in
that's where
your
Negosyo Center
place.
comes in.
Yes. And then have yourself profiled by our Negosyo Center business counselor. And then by then, your needs will be assessed in terms of training needs, capacity building, in terms of technical aspects on coffee production and harvesting or post-handling and harvesting process. Also in terms of the facilities and equipment that you need. So by then, upon hearing the needs of, your needs, for example, then DTI will be assessing it and will be putting you in a series of assistance that we will be giving. So we will be inviting you to different activities, and that will be the start of your career path.
Well, that is a good news, no? So, sa atong mga listeners, nga mga farmers, kani para ni sa inyo ha. So, this would mean that muduo lang mo no sa pinakaduol nga negosyo center, o magpalista lang mo, magpa-profile ka mo, o diha na magsugod ang inyong assistance sa DTI. Tama ba, sir?
Yes, insakto na.
You also mentioned about SSF. I think this will be the answer to the problem of equipment and tools or facility per se. So,
Precisely.
how can farmers avail to this, or is this individually released, or how does this work?
Okay. The program has its own implementing rules and guidelines, and one of which, before you can take advantage of these assistance, we do not actually cater to individual or sole proprietor. The program is geared toward assisting groups. So when we say groups, it could be an association or cooperative. So they can take advantage of that. Foundation can also take advantage, and the academe, they can also avail of such program. It's because of the concept that the equipment that has to be lent to them will be shared by and among micro entrepreneurs in the vicinity and in the neighboring areas, wherein they will only have to pay minimum fee for that, just to enough to shoulder the maintenance of the equipment and the operational costs.
So, does this cooperatives mean that they will be producing just one product, or can they avail to these equipment with their personal products?
Well, they can actually, if say for example you are an association and you are producing, let us say, banana chips. So you can get or you can request for an equipment, a processor, say for example a vacuum fryer from the Department of Trade and Industry. You can use it to do or to become more productive and efficient in your production. And then make use of the equipment, but part of the sales or the proceeds of that product that you are producing, the cooperative will be, or the association will be allocating a certain percentage of that sales for the maintenance of the equipment. The same is true when other banana chip producers in the vicinity or in the area will be taking or availing of the services of the SSF. Then they will only have to pay for the maintenance cost and the operational cost.
Yes, I like the idea of SSF because the community can share the same equipment and use
Yes.
it on their own. Because first of all, many startups are not yet ready to purchase their own equipment, and maybe the equipment will then be underutilized if they will purchase it for their family's use only.
That
Right?
is correct. Aside from the cost, which requires big investment,
Yes, yes.
it will be hard for them on their own capacity. So might as well that they're going to pool, or they're going to form a group and then take advantage or avail of the SSF service, and then they're going to share the use of the equipment in producing their product to become more efficient and productive.
Okay, so you also mentioned that the academe can also access this program, SSF. So, what are the criteria for availing this for the academe sector?
Okay, for the academic sector, let us say we have one cooperator in Misamis Oriental, in the University of Science and Technology in Southern Philippines. That is I forgot the name of the project, but it's somewhat like a processing hub for packaging, or no, for foods, and then also for packaging. So the requirement for that, or the eligibility requirements, is at least they are into that kind of industry, right? And then there are sufficient number of MSMEs around the area, and of course it has to be an established school as well.
So, how about those community colleges in the third and fourth class municipalities? Will they be able to apply to this program?
Yes, yes.
So, they just need to submit documentary requirements, the
Yes,
usual.
we have list of requirements to be submitted. But when you have, or for example, if there is an academe that is interested to become our cooperator, as the way how we termed it, they are going to submit a letter of intent to the Department of Trade and Industry, and then it is not guaranteed to be 100% approved.
Approved, yeah.
Because it will still undergo some sort of eligibility assessment, and then after that results will be identified and then will be given to the
Of course, so
activities.
basically, all they need to submit is a letter of intent first.
Yes, it's the start of the process.
Okay, so for our academe listeners, for our teachers, students, or business ad majors, or for all those who are interested that are currently inclined with the academe, you just need to submit letter of intent to establish your own, what do we call that? NMFIC, right? Food Innovation Center.
Yeah, Food Innovation Center. That's the name. That's the term, or that's the name of the facility in ME or USTP.
Because that is located in Cagayan de Oro. So that is
Yes.
around 2 to 3 hours from Balay City, the center of Bukidnon. But I'm actually thinking about those who are from, let's say, Kalilangan, Kadingilan. Those municipalities are far from Cagayan de Oro if you're gonna follow the highway. So I'm thinking about establishing one in, for example, in CMU or other, I think Don Carlos also have their own community college
Yes.
where they can establish one. But we understand that this takes a lot of the budget has to be enough. No, it needs a lot of funding because
it depends on the project. In Central Mindanao University at the moment, we have an ongoing project proposal for that for a rubber processing plant, and it has been approved, and it's now undergoing the next or the other processes that they need to.
So this also still
comply.
falls down on your SSF.
SSF, yes.
That's right.
Because that is designed to cater to the rubber farmers in the province. Because as we all know, if a rubber farmer would only be producing like the cup lumps, that's the raw material or the number one or the first product that a rubber can produce, then there's no value adding to that. So in order to add more value to the products, then we are proposing for the establishment of a rubber processing plant in which by then, if it will be established, then we can already produce rubber crepe for that matter.
All right. You mentioned about great women. So I am very interested in that. Of course, I am an advocate of empowering women because I have witnessed on my own eyes that in the farthest or in the JIDA communities, so many women are still left at home to do household chores and not really participate in contributing income to the family. So how does Great Women Project is implemented?
Well, first we are shortlisting women-led organizations
okay.
and women-led enterprises. So by then, we enroll them in the project. This is actually the second run of the Great Women Project. This is the Great Women Project 2. In the previous years, there were a series of trainings, capability buildings, solely for or to empower the women entrepreneurs.
So does the organization has to be a member of a all women group or
Not really. You can, for example, if you are an organization or an association or cooperative, if your leader, say for example, the chairman of the president is a woman, then we can enroll you, your organization in the project. In the same manner, if an enterprise is owned by a woman, if the registration of the business, the name in there is a woman, then we can enroll that in the project.
do you have specific programs for PWDs?
Well, PWDs at the moment, they are in the mainstream of the programs of almost all government agencies.
True.
Because we are acknowledging the fact that more than anyone else, they need assistance in terms of developing their own capacities as differently abled persons. So we are also implementing programs, although we don't have any specific yet for them only, just like the Great Women, but we are incorporating them in the programs that we are implementing, such as the SSF, the Negotiation Center training seminars. We are encouraging them to be part of it.
And also we are we would also like to emphasize that PWDs are also very welcome to avail all services of DTI.
Yes.
In terms of building sustainable communities, so how do you keep these clienteles engaged at the same time committed? It is important in building a sustainable community that members of the community are committed to what they do, has the initiative, and is empowered. Therefore, in all these programs, you have mentioned how do you keep them accountable and how do you keep them responsible entrepreneurs?
Number one is really to get a buy-in from them. We offer them the services and we ask them to become proactive in taking advantage of the programs and services of the government, for that matter. Secondly, we encourage them to spend time in or invest their time in attending to seminars and training programs that we have, because that's the only way for them to become more empowered. And we also practice in the department or in the agency. We also practice to encourage these entrepreneurs to become self-reliant and not to rely much on the government efforts. They also have to take part in the development of their own enterprises.
Yes, because there's a tendency that when we provide them all their concerns, all their needs, is that they get to depend on us in everything, in every concept to their business and all, how they run the organization. They'd be looking up at us, right?
Yes. So we really make sure that they understand the kind of assistance that we are giving, and we also are proactive enough in informing them that time will come that the department or we, the business counselors, will no longer be on their side always to guide them, because just like rearing a child, time will come that when they reach 18, they should become independent. So
Yes, that is the
that's-
dream.
Yeah, that's how we form their mindset.
Okay, so aside from that, part of a sustainable community is ecological integrity of those who are in the community. So are there programs that are encouraging or even imposing our local businessmen to be environment conscious?
Yes, the program that we have for green economic development, we have just adopted this green economic development. There has already been a series of capacity building trainings for employees to be aware of what green economic development is all about, and we are imposing this to our SSF cooperators. We want them to be aware. In fact, a few days from now, we will be having a capacity building for our staff, and also next month we will be having an orientation and workshop on how to green the SSF. Greening means how to reduce their waste, or how to properly manage their waste from their production.
And since you mentioned SSF to this, so we would also be promoting them to use environment-friendly equipment or tools for example, in the rubber facility. It has to be accredited or...
Well,
Right.
not really more on the type of equipment, but it's more on the waste, on the disposal method, and also how to do, like, they have to use as much as possible those renewable energy, just like using, if it's possible, the solar panels, like reduce consumption of water, eliminate the waste, or if they cannot eliminate it, then at least they have to manage their waste properly, recycle.
or earn from the waste, right?
Yes,
Because
earn
you can
from the waste.
you can still, I think it's part of maximizing your profit if you can still make something out of your waste
Yes.
and, of course, earn from it.
Yeah, so recycling. Yes.
Lastly, so how do you encourage people to go into business? I think so many of our countrymen are still always nagging about walang trabaho, walang ganon. So how do you really, especially to our student listeners, how do you encourage them to go into business?
Well, just like the Chinese people, their parents are sending their children to school not to get a decent job after graduation, but to establish their own business. For our students, it would be best if they're going to plan ahead and to venture into business and become an entrepreneur, because you can have your own income, you can be your own boss.
True.
You can help your community. You can also help people, not only in providing jobs but also in providing what they need in the community. And for the Philippines and in our locality, there are great potentials that we can tap, especially that we have a lot of um, local resources that are untapped. We have so many skills that we can use. We have so many manpower that we can hire if we need labor for that matter. So it's always best to venture into entrepreneurship rather than look for a job if you're a graduate and then just settle for a job, say for example, in the retail industry wherein you will become underemployed.
Yes, that is one of the most common problems nowadays.
So you will settle on a below minimum wage aspect. So how could you become sustainable and how could you improve? Wherein in entrepreneurship, if you just if you are just persistent enough, if you are just motivated enough, then there's a huge potential for you to become successful.
Alright, so this is a personal question. Gusto kong marinig kung ano ang iyong opinion to this. What do you think are some of the things that the government can still do? Because we already have so many programs for the MSMEs, and yet marami pa ring needs for improvement. So what do you think can the government do to for the future?
Well, although this has already been started, but this has not been adopted by other government agencies yet, and it's a must for all of the agencies to do. What is happening now is that every agency has their own programs and projects that they're implementing, and in most, if not all cases, there are duplications. So
yes, that is true.
we have to encourage and we have to promote the culture of convergence, wherein all of the government agencies will help each other, complement each other's programs, and not duplicate it. This will promote, number one, goodwill among all the government agencies. Number two, harmonization of the plans. Third is on or widen the scope of assistance that they can give. And then lastly, and the most important, is to manage and use the resources, whatever we have as a government, to become more focused and streamlined to specific assistance that we can give to our clients.
Yeah, so convergence is something that we still need to work on.
Yes, because some of the government agencies are thinking that there are turfing that is happening. So they say that, hey, this is our job. Why are you doing this? Well, we have to promote a culture of collaborative culture for that matter, wherein we will help each other. The department or the agency right now, specifically DTI, and is actually on the convergence aspect. We are working with the Department of Public Works and Highways. We're working with the Department of Agrarian Reform. We're working with the Department of the Department of Science and Technology, in terms of implementing projects, and other agencies. Also in peace building process, we are working with the Department of Interior and Local Government.
Okay, so one last thing, Sir Lau. Can you please encourage our listeners, just 1 to 2 liners, to go into business?
Yeah, for those who are not yet into business, please think twice or as many as you can if you can go or venture into business. If you need assistance, just contact our nearest negotiation center for you to have or for you to get help in getting the right business idea. And then for those who are existing, who are in business already, please continue. Do not be discouraged. There are a lot of assistance that the government is doing at the moment. All you need to do is to scout for them and make yourself seen by the government.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Lau. It was nice. It was very nice to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, and it has been my pleasure.